I am looking around the apartment in the Cyberpunk game just to see what kind of stuff I have there. And I noticed there are a lot of books laying around. So I thought to myself, can I read them? I need to know what kind of books I have in my collection. Of course, I know I can't just open the book in this game, but I can read the name and for the start try to figure out what kind of book covers they have. So my goal gonna be to go through all my apartments in the game, try to figure out what kind of books I have and what they have to offer. You would probably say better read a real book. For that I would say, not today. Looks like the only way you can read what's inside of the book is through the charts or on the fandom page. So this is gonna be my resources for this. I will start with this bookshelf. Let's see what kind of books we have. The first book I see is 1000 Beats a Second by Olivia Lockmore. And it looks like this. We can see this cover partly on this bookshelf in the north side apartment, or more of it at the Misty Place. And it contains quote from the romance novel. The text reflects the fear of originality of the human being. As in this world, every part of the body can be changed to the mechanical one. And it asks question, is it still you? Do you still have real feelings, or is it reflect of algorithm? Where did you end and Android begins? So there we have it, first book, nice, good start. Next one is Why Cywick? What you slot is what you got, by Clay Johnson. And here it is in the Glen apartment, fully visible. This is the story of the data thief in the Night City, how she was contacted by the client for the new job. It looked like a good start for the quest. Add it to the collection. Here we have the Chronicles of Titania by Moore and Oliver. You can see book cover in the Glen apartment. It's the first book in the Alien trilogy. This is a fictional world where people live in the system that guarantee happiness for the million. I quote, Titania knows no inequity, no scarcity. For the first time in the human history, everyone belonged to the privileged class. And in this world, people give up work by hand, as machines do it instead of them, and they have just supervisory role. It asks questions such as, did they lose their value in this case? And are they blind to the lies in the perfect system? And the bottom book is Kibble and Scope by Abe Frost. This book you can see in the Japantown apartment. In this story, two characters speaks about unfairness of life. Why can't they succeed as other people? And tiredness to be a background character. And about possibility of living in the brain-dense system, world where they can have it all but never die. From this side of the bookshelf, we have Sayonara Station by Luke Stillman. The best view of this book I found in the Vice apartment. It tells us that most shipments were made on freighters at sea, as it was cheap and safe. But somebody in Arasaka creates self-controlled AI mines to destroy enemy vessels. I quote, since there was non-zero probability that a vessel waving a friendly flag might also have enemies on board, in the interest of optimization, it would also be sunk. They tried to update the software, but AI rejected it as a virus, so it led to the end of the history travel by sea. But train transport survived to these days. Not just survived, but actually developed in speed. It can travel long distance in a very short period of time. So most of the deliveries made by train. Let's see how this book looks like. It's called Guide to the Net by Rage Bartmoss. You can see it in the Glen and Japanese Town apartment. It's a cyberpunk source book and guide for the global computer net. Released in 1993, and it's one of two guides which Bartmos created. Second one called Hardware and Software Compendium for Cyberpunk, and this one released in 1996. But this book I didn't find in the game, so probably it's connected to the board game or card game which game was inspired on. Interesting fact that Bartmos was known netrunner, and he actually caused the dark crash and killed the old net. What do we have next? Dr. Havoc Raidon, Volume 1. The best view of this book in the Glen apartment. This is a comic book adventure about Dr. Havoc and Raiden, who defeat the invaders from the Planet X. It takes us in the world of computer games, which were first imagined in the book which we already know, called Kibble and Scope. Here we have Why Be Me? Confession of the Brain Dance Addict by Sergio Morales. And here it is in the Glen apartment. This book asks you a question. Do you want to be you? Do you feel happy in your life? If your answer yes, then don't waste your time with this book. But if your answer is no, it tells you how can you be anybody in the different reality. Happy, strong, anything. This reality called brain dancing. This technology allows you to record and play somebody's memory, feel their emotions, their thoughts, even remove some part of this memory. This one called The Maxtac Way by Matthias Maddox. It's a second edition and you can see it in the Glen apartment too. And it explores fear that the body can get to the point of the cyberpsychosis. It's a mental disorder when people lose their identity because of too many mechanical parts implanted to their body. It shows how fragile the body is and why people try to add cyber parts to the body to make it stronger. And at the same time, fear that something human-like disappears if they push themselves too much. Next one is 75 Years of Cyberware. We can see this book in two places. Back of this book we can see in the north side apartment, and a little top of the book we can see as the misty place. And I found this picture on the website, language which I cannot read. But we can make conclusions that this is the right one because spine and backside of the book and top part of the book is right one. So I think this is it. This is the cover. This book is actually very interesting. It tells us how difficult it was in the past to live with the disabilities. But in the modern world, if you're financially stable, of course, it's not more than inconvenience, which is benefits of cyberware. But at the same time, employers require you to have body replacement so you can improve workplace performance, which is force people to do it even if they have no need for it, which is downs of the cyberware. I like this one. It sounds like very interesting thought. Here we have Rewiring Synaptic Pathway, and the only place where I see this book fully, I think it was in the Glen apartment. And it's about revolution in the neurotechnology. By plugging computer chip in your head, you can learn complicated skills in a second. But if you remove it, you will forget it as fast. And this book asks questions like, what comes next? Can we make it a permanent change? And if yes, what will be the consequences? And the last book in our collection is Richard Knight, Visionary. And you can see this book in the Glen apartment. I didn't find what this book contains inside, but I know that Richard Knight was a founder of the Night City, so we can try to read about him and his visionary and try to imagine what this book possibly can be about. Knight wanted to create the ideal city, independent, safe and crime-free, controlled and managed by corporations. with neighborhood dedicated to perceive different types of nationalities and cultures. Interesting fact, he bought a small town for location of his dream city, called Morro Bay, a ghost town after horrors that had taken place there. It was renamed to Coronado City, but known by locals as Night City. Coronado City truly reflects his creator vision. But Mafia weren't happy with the Knight's free crime city, and there were daily threats against Knight's life. Eventually, Knight's luck ran out, he was shot and killed. And after his death, Coronado City was renamed to the Night City in his honor. There it is, collection of all books. We read all books we can find in the flats in the game. Some of them it was impossible to read the name, but I like to imagine that it was some kind of magazine maybe. I expected to be meaningless books, just background items, but they actually give you a lot of information about the world, the problems, the history. It's just fascinating. I had so much fun. So that's it. See ya!